Okay, imagine this. Bengaluru just absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
After 17 long seasons of hope, heartbreak, just unwavering loyalty. The Royal Challengers, Bengaluru RCB, right. They finally did it, clinched their very first IPL title.
Oh, the energy must have been incredible. You could almost feel it, even from afar. It wasn't just a win, it was, well, everything they'd been waiting for.
Exactly. A real moment of just collective joy for a city that honestly lives and breathes cricket.
It really felt like the peak, the culmination of years and years of anticipation, and the sheer emotion, not just in Bengaluru or India, but like globally. It was huge. People had dreamed about this moment.
And the celebration was all set up to be this massive citywide party.
Yeah.
But then, well, the unthinkable happened. A day that was meant for just pure, unbridled joy. It just spiraled into unimaginable sorrow. It etched this completely different tragic memory into the city's consciousness. It's a story that just stops you cold.
It really does. What started as, the happiest possible outcome quickly turned into this really profound, somber lesson.
Right.
It just highlighted the huge critical responsibility that comes with putting on these massive public events, especially when they tap into such deep collective passion, the contrast, the euphoria one day, the tragedy the next. It's just incredibly stark.
And that's really our mission today in this deep dive. We're going to try and unpack this incredibly complex story, trace the arc from RCB's historic win right through to the heartbreaking stampede that followed.
Yeah.
We'll look at the immediate aftermath, the urgent calls for like real systemic change, and then the team's long-term commitment to healing its community. We want to understand not just what happened, but really why it matters for sports, for community, and critically for public safety.
And you'll find, I think, this discussion goes way beyond just cricket. It's a really powerful story about fan passion, isn't it? The strength of community bonds.
Definitely.
And that solemn duty to make sure our shared celebrations don't somehow turn into shared tragedies.
That's why it hits so hard, I think. For anyone listening who's ever felt that rush of excitement at a big game, a concert, whatever, or understands that deep, almost like visceral connection to a sports team, this will connect. It's just raising these critical questions about how we, collectively make sure these big moments stay safe for everyone. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. What is it about RCB that means so much to Bengaluru?
Well, what's really unique, I think, is how deeply RCB is just woven into the city's identity. It's not just any team. It's seen as a symbol of Bengaluru itself,
Yeah.
innovative, resilient, fiercely loyal.
Yeah.
And since the IPL kicked off back in 2008, RCB's journey has been, well, an absolute roller coaster, pure emotion.
Roller coaster's putting it mildly. They've had some of the biggest names in cricket wear their jersey over the years. You think of legends like Virat Kohli, A.B. Villiers, Chris Gale, massive stars.
Two stars.
Yet despite all that talent, they got to the finals 3 times before 2025, 2009, 2011, 2016. But that trophy, it always slipped away. It was this long, kind of painful wait for their fans.
And, surprisingly maybe, that long wait only seemed to fuel the passion of their fan base. They call themselves the 12th man army, right?
Right.
And Bengaluru itself, India's Silicon Valley, it's this vibrant mix of tech folks, students, cricket lovers. They really embraced RCB as more than just a team. It became a symbol of the city's ambition, its kind of never give up spirit.
And by 2025, their global following was apparently over 20 million people. Just think about that. 20 million people invested in this team made them one of the most popular franchises in the whole IPL, easily. So that hunger for the first title was just immense.
Absolutely. And that 2025 season, it just felt different somehow. Under Rajat Patidar's captaincy, the team seemed to find a new level. There were consistent, strong performances, key players stepping up, like Krunal Pandya, player of the match in the final. It was just a season where everything sort of clicked.
And what a final. June 3rd, 2025, Ahmedabad's massive Narendra Modi Stadium. RCB versus Punjab Kings. They set this big target, 191.
Yeah, formidable.
And then it came down to the wire. They defended it, won by just 6 runs. It wasn't just a win, it was the win. Their first IPL title after 17 seasons chasing it. The whole country went wild, but Bengaluru, well, that reaction was something else entirely.
That victory just unleashed this incredible, unrestrained wave of pure joy across the city. But this is exactly where the story takes that tragic, immediate turn.
The very next day, June 4th, 2025. a date that should have been just pure celebration. Instead, it became a scene of just unimaginable sorrow. Can we even picture it? The streets were just packed. That's 200,000 excited fans.
Wow.
The air was thick with the excitement. RCB had organized this felicitation ceremony and open bus parade for the champions at the Chinnaswamy Stadium.
The intention was so good, right? It's pure joy, a chance for the city to cheer its heroes, banners waving, RCB, RCB, chants everywhere, families gathering, wanting to be part of that glory. But the sheer numbers, estimates put it near 3 lakh people converging on that area, 300,000. The stadium only holds about 32,000. It just completely overwhelmed whatever preparations were in place.
And as the gates opened, the crowd just surged. Eyewitnesses described just terrifying chaos. Apparently, high-risk areas near the gates weren't managed properly. It led to pushing, shoving, and then, tragically, a stampede.
Just awful.
People couldn't breathe. Families got separated in the crush. Emergency services were struggling, just desperately trying to reach the injured. It's horrifying to even imagine.
And this wasn't just, a logistical failure. It was a human catastrophe. It claimed the lives of 11 young people, all under 40.
So young.
And at least 50 others injured. Some reports said maybe up to 75 people affected. The ground outside the stadium afterwards, littered with shoes, slippers, personal things, just silent, heartbreaking reminders of the pandemonium.
So in the immediate aftermath, naturally, this torrent of questions just erupted. Who was responsible? What went wrong with crowd management, the planning? What are the basic duties of organizers here?
Well, the initial responses came pretty quickly, though, maybe not enough given the scale of it all. Karnataka's Chief Minister Siddaramaiah announced an ex gratia payment, that's like a goodwill payment, not admitting fault of 10 lakh rupees for each victim's family.
Okay.
And RCB also put out a brief statement expressing sorrow, and initially they also announced 10 lakh per family. A gesture of solidarity.
But the public reaction, fueled by grief, by anger, it was huge. Critics pointed fingers directly at RCB, saying they promoted the event without adequate safety measures. And also at the KSCA, the Karnataka State Cricket Association, for, venue oversight.
Yeah, that comparison really hit hard, didn't it? People were asking, how can a team spend 15 crore rupees, that's 150 million, on victory parties, but initially only offer 10 lakh per family for lives lost? MPs brought it up, highlighted that disparity nationally. It caused a lot of anger.
Understandably so, and the consequences were pretty severe, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. A government inquiry quickly declared the Chinnaswamy Stadium unsafe for big events. Upcoming matches had to be moved. Crucial time. Women's World Cup games went to Navi Mumbai. The Maharaja Trophy moved to Mysuru.
Oh.
And legally, the police filed an FIR, that's a first information report, kicking off a criminal investigation against both RCB and the KSCA for negligence. So the fallout was immediate and profound.
So it became painfully clear this wasn't just some isolated accident. It really pointed to this critical systemic problem with how large events are managed.
Yeah.
What concrete steps do the authorities actually take then to fix this deeper issue?
Well, recognizing that systemic issue, the Karnataka police acted pretty decisively. On June 26, 2025, they issued a really comprehensive standard operating procedure and SOP specifically for crowd management.
An SOP?
Yeah, directed by the DG and IGP, M.A. Salim. And this SOP, it's genuinely a potential game changer for public safety at events like this.
And what are some of the key things in it? What specific changes will organizers actually have to make now?
It mandates some really crucial steps. Things like proper risk assessments before events, detailed audits of the venues, digital ticketing to actually control entry numbers,
Right.
biometric verification for identifying people and making sure there are enough properly trained personnel at all the key choke points. It also puts a big emphasis on de-escalation tactics, using minimal force if needed, and having really robust emergency plans in place.
And interestingly, it also acknowledges social media's role, right? How it can amplify spontaneous gatherings.
Exactly. That's a key part. It requires a much more dynamic, proactive approach to planning, realizing that crowds can swell unexpectedly because of online buzz.
So it's not just about managing the crowd inside the gate, but understand the whole picture, from the build-up online to how people disperse afterwards. Home Minister G. Parameshwara stressed that these guidelines are really about prioritizing human dignity and safety, preventing future tragedies. It feels like a critical step for Bengaluru. And honestly, it could set a benchmark for the rest of India.
I think it has to. The real insight here isn't just we need rules, but that modern event planning has to shift. from just reacting to crowds to proactively using tech, using intelligence to understand and manage them.
Right.
The Bengaluru tragedy showed how quickly enthusiasm, boosted by social media, can just overwhelm traditional safety plans. And for you listening, think about how these kinds of rules directly affect your own safety and enjoyment at any big gathering you go to: concerts, festivals, rallies. It changes it from a potential free-for-all to a planned, hopefully secure environment.
Now, in the weeks and months following the tragedy, RCB went completely silent on social media. It was a long break, 84 days. And a lot of fans were wondering, was this indifference? Were they just trying to avoid the whole difficult conversation?
But the team eventually explained that the silence wasn't indifference, it was grief. Their statement, when they finally broke that silence, was incredibly moving. The silence wasn't absence, it was grief.
And that moment came on August 28th, 2025. They announced RCB Cares, this new long-term initiative focused on community support.
Yeah.
And as a first, really significant step, and they stressed, with the deepest respect, RCB massively increased their compensation. They extended 25 lakh each to the families of the 11 victims. This felt like more than just money, didn't it? It was a powerful statement.
It really was. It was presented as this profound promise of compassion, of unity, and crucially, of ongoing care. Their statement said something like, "Our hearts broke on June 4th, 2025. We lost 11 members of the RCB family." They made it clear that, look, no amount of support can fill that void, but this was a vital first step in their commitment.
And RCB Cares, it actually goes beyond just the financial side. It's designed as this community-led platform for healing, for fan engagement, safety advocacy, developed with their supporters, which seems important.
Very important. It includes crucial things like ongoing medical help for those injured, counseling services to help people process the trauma, and various initiatives just to honor the victims' memories. They described it as a space for sharing, standing together, and walking forward as a community.
It feels like a really comprehensive approach, a deliberate effort to rebuild that trust with the 12th Man Army, who've been so loyal for so long.
Absolutely. Rebuilding trust is key.
And how was it received? Public reactions?
They were mixed, as you'd expect, but largely appreciative, I think. Some still questioned the timing, sure, but many others pointed to the team's earlier pledge and saw the real potential in this new fund for making a lasting difference. Even Virat Kohli, their iconic former captain, reportedly expressed how devastated he was. It just underscored the deep emotional toll this took on everyone involved with the team.
Now, stepping back a bit, this incident in Bengaluru, as horrific as it was, isn't entirely unique when you look globally, or even within India, right?
That's true. Sadly, India does have a history of crowd-related tragedies, often at huge religious gatherings like the Kumbh Mela. There have been incidents over the decades, like in 1954, and even as recently as January 2025, where hundreds have tragically died.
Right. Cricket-related crushes are rarer, thankfully. But the sheer passion for the game, people call it India's unofficial religion, means those risks are definitely there.
And we can look internationally, too, for really sobering reminders. Things like the 1959 Busan Stadium crush in South Korea, or the 1989 Hillsborough disaster in England. These tragedies just hammered home the universal critical need for better planning, better safety protocols at all large gatherings.
And for Bengaluru specifically, you mentioned the rapid urbanization.
Right.
That's definitely amplified the risks, hasn't it? Infrastructure sometimes struggles to keep up with population growth and the demands of these huge events.
Absolutely. Experts are now urgently calling for more advanced tech things like AI-driven crowd monitoring and just much tighter coordination between the organizers, the police, the local authorities. It needs a more integrated, proactive approach to manage these complex situations.
And thinking about the victims' families, the pain is just so personal. Their names have rightly been kept private, but we know they were just ordinary fans, students, workers, parents who simply wanted to be part of a celebration.
Yeah.
And the compensation, while significant and necessary, it can never replace a loved one. RCB Cares promising that ongoing support, educational aid for kids, job assistance that feels crucial, trying to turn that immense grief into some form of actionable long-term support.
Definitely. And looking forward, this whole event really could, and arguably should, reshape how sports events are managed right across India. The IPL is massive, its influence sets precedents.
For sure.
RCB's initiative here, RCB Cares, it might genuinely inspire other teams to put fan welfare much higher on the priority list, maybe through dedicated safety funds or similar community programs. We already know that Chinnaswamy Stadium is getting significant upgrades ahead of the 2026 season, specifically to meet these new SOPs. That's a vital step towards making sure the experience is safer for everyone.
So our deep dive today has really taken us on quite an emotional journey, from the incredible highs of that long, long-awaited victory to the absolutely devastating lows of what was ultimately a preventable tragedy in Bengaluru. We've looked at how a community wrestled with grief and how a team, a beloved team, stepped up to try and heal and rebuild that crucial trust.
And those gestures, like the 25 lakh relief, the creation of RCB Cares, they aren't just about the money, are they? They really do point a path forward. This whole story just underlines a powerful truth. In sports, just like in life, unity and compassion, they have to win out over adversity in the end.
It does leave us with a lingering, important question, though, doesn't it? What does it truly mean to be a fan in a world where that passion, that intensity can sometimes, tragically, lead to danger? And how can all of us, collectively, make sure that our shared celebrations are always, always safe celebrations? It's definitely something for you, the listener, to think about, maybe discuss.
Yeah, it is. But despite this profound loss, Bengaluru's spirit, much like its team, it remains unbroken. Cricket is what binds that city together. And there's no doubt in my mind the echoes of Isala Pepnamde. This year, the cup is ours. They will return stronger and, most importantly, safer than before.